Hello, welcome to Sean Builds a Lisp. My name is Sean and I am building a Lisp. Last time we got started on making our expand function expand macros hygienically, and basically what that means is that if a macro expands and the result of the expansion contains a symbol, we want to be able to map that symbol back to the environment in which the macro is evaluating rather than the environment in which the macro expanded to. As I was going, I got a little bit hung up on how I wanted to handle subsequent macro expansions. So I still have my test file up, and the example I was giving here is that we have a function, and inside that function we declare another function. And so this symbol baz here should resolve to the environment of this function scope. Likewise, if I just give a few more examples, if I set a var, this var should resolve to the scope inside this function as well. Whereas if I have a let or a const, then this let or const should resolve to this the scope of the block here. Likewise, if I were to add another block and declare var a again, this actually is not a new variable declaration. This actually references the same a as here. Whereas if I declare another let, this b should evaluate to the scope of this block rather than this block. And likewise, this block is actually a macro function. So as the block macro expands, it needs to somehow... Oh, one moment, I'm going to close the door. Okay, so this block needs to know that a variable has been added to the scope. So for example, if we use, if we just set b here equal to something else, this block macro is expanding each form in turn. When it gets to this let form, it needs to know that there is a b binding, and it needs to be able to basically assign it. So I think where I was getting hung up is that for our environment, it's just right now a really simple map. It's just an object. So if I jump over to, so right now I have an ES5 index where I'm setting up my environment. And so this is just a very simple object. And on the left-hand side, I'm going to bring up my extend n function. And all this does is, given a set of new bindings, it returns a new object with the additional bindings. But I think what we need to actually do is make this a wrapper. So I'm not sure the best way to demonstrate this, but for example, if the env rather looks like this, then this extend n function can actually reset the bindings here. And as our block is looping through the statements, we'll be able to determine if the bindings have changed. And that way, we can keep things pure so that as we get into expanding larger files and building IDE support, we're not mutating our state, and in that way we can do a lot of heavy caching to keep things speedy. At least fingers crossed. So just to kind of give an example of what I'm looking here, I'm going to jump to my block macro function. And so what you can see here is we are creating a Babel block statement AST node by looping over the arguments that are passed in. So let me bring up my function test file again. So this block macro is going to in turn expand each of these forms, and that's what we are seeing right here. So as a part of expanding these forms, this will have a, for example, a let macro that will compile to a variable declaration and add b to the block statement's scope. So let's think about how we want to do this. What I'm going to do, just for the sake of demonstration, is let's write our let macro. Oh my. Okay. And then here we'll want to add a file let.js. Okay, so module.exports, and we can't call it let because that's a reserved keyword in JavaScript, so I'm just gonna put an underscore underneath it for now. And this is going to return syntax object, and we'll also get our environment. So what we'll want to do is return, we want to import a variable declaration from Babel. So this is a builder function that will build the Babel AST node. Okay, so variable declaration. So this is what we are going to return, variable declaration. So as I'm going through this, I think I'm going to do some renaming. I think I'm going to actually call this declare. It'll be a bit more close to the Babel primitives, and we can have, sorry, brain just rebooted. We can make some higher order macros for the various things. So basically, so we've got declare, oops, this should be declare.spec. So we've got our module on the left and our test on the right. And so what I want to do here is describe my module. And so I just have some utility test functions set up, and so this is a function that I've attached to the global object that basically takes the argument, requires it, and then calls a callback with the required module. So all right, where is this? This is in blisp, I think ES5/declare. All right, so I can't remember what I want to do here, so I'm just gonna kind of start from scratch. All right, so what we want this to look like is basically declare, let, and then A1. And so basically this is, the reason I'm doing it this way is this maps pretty closely to the Babel AST builder functions. So if I command hover on this, you can see that the first argument to variable declaration is the kind. And then the second arguments are a set of variable declarators. I'm not sure what the third argument does. Shall we pop over to the documentation and just see what we're doing? In theory, this might load. It would be pretty terrible if I'm having internet problems. Oh my, I wonder if Babel.js is down. Wait, it's not. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, Let's jump into the docs. And then all the way down here at the bottom, we have our types, the types and the builder functions. And what we're looking for is variable declaration. Cool. Okay. I don't know. It doesn't actually say what it is. Not sure what that does, but let's just continue. We'll pretend that that doesn't exist. Alrighty, so basically all we have to do here is actually I'm gonna look at block.js. So the args here is an array expression Babel AST node, and I'm digging into the internal fields on this object, which makes me a little nervous. So I think what I'm going to do is build a helper function for this. Not sure where I want to do it. I think I'm gonna just put it in the expander for now. So kind of following the Racket language, and basically, whoops, I don't want to resolve. Basically, the Racket language has syntax objects very similar to what we have, and it has a syntax to datum function that takes a syntax object and returns the raw expression. So let's do that. To datum. And so this will take a syntax object, and we will switch on the syntax.type. And we're going to keep this lightweight. If we have an array expression, then we will simply return syntax.elements. Otherwise, I'm gonna make, this might be a huge mistake, but otherwise I'm going to assume that we have some kind of literal AST node, and in which case we can just return the value. Node, okay, so just putting a comment there so that when this causes a bug, I'll have some idea of what went wrong. So let's return syntax.value. Okie dokie. Actually, before I get too far on this, I'm gonna delete all this stuff. Let's just let's run our tests and make sure that everything is, whoops. Let's first run our function tests and just make sure that we haven't broken anything yet. We probably have. And of course, what do we have here? God, call expression. That's a problem. Okay, so before, oh, you know what? This is why. I changed my environment, my ES5 environment, didn't I? Nope. Where is it? There we go. We added this and we didn't update anything else, so let's just revert back to where we were and make sure that everything still runs. It does not. Scopes of undefined. All right, let's see what we did. Function.spec. Okay, so okay, so we have, basically I have an end set up here with an extra variable verifying that that everything is hygienic. All right, you know what we're gonna do? We're just going to debug it. Maybe we're gonna debug it. All right, let's try that again. Okay, let's see what's, where are we? So here we are. Oh, I'm not providing a function body. Okay, that was the test we were running. All right, so I'm gonna stop this and I'm gonna rerun it from the terminal just because it's a bit faster. Okay, great. And then I'm going to run all of our tests. And we have problems. Let's see here. Oh, this is a Mocha error. So we started doing this and we didn't finish. So, oops, that one. Declare.spec. And so basically I just need to make sure to, we'll just provide an empty callback for now. And let's try running our tests again. Fix all the bugs we made. Oh, whew. Okay, that's a doozy. Pretty much every single test just failed. Okay, so I think I changed the format of my syntax function. So we're gonna have to go update all those tests. I think these are in our reader. And so we want this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, read. And do we have a syntax? Okay. All right, just gonna spend a few moments to clean this up and match my refactor. All right, let's just audit all the files. Yes, I would like to save that. Let's see, so. Oops. All right, so basically all I'm doing here is just updating to match, I refactored the syntax function, so we need to just fix it up everywhere. Let's search for syntax quote. And this is the boring part. I would do a search and replace, but I'm not confident that it would absolutely do the right thing. Okay. I just pressed Control Save. Okay. Let's see. That looks good. Okay, I'm pretty sure that all the primitives functions are fine. So here we need to fix that. Okay. What did I do here? All right, so we have a syntax error, but it looks right. Okay, are we missing a parenthesis someplace? That guy goes there. guy goes there, and this guy should go to the top. Oh, interesting. False alarm. Okay, let's try running our test again, see if we fixed everything. Nope. Name. Okay. All right, what file is this? Reader syntax. Okay. So I also refactored what symbol literal means. So let's fix that. It's actually value. What else do we? Oh my goodness. This is so broken. What did I do? Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I also have changed. I think we're gonna have to fix this many times. Yep. Okay. So this env is also using the old style. So now each binding in the env is an array. So let's just make these guys arrays, and shall we try it one more? Okay, getting closer. What else do we have here? All right, well, all right, scrolling. A lot of things are going wrong. Okay. So I think all right. Let's see. All right, so I'm just going to open my launch JSON and get set up to only run my expand tests. And let's see if we can't actually start making progress soon. Let's do that, and I am going to debug it. Let's just keep running till we hit our breakpoint. We never hit our breakpoint. That is a problem. Okay. So where was that? Here. All right. I'm just going to somewhere we have something that will dip syntax quote. I am going to just well, what? All right. I'm just going to only run our syntax quote, and let's break right away. Okay. Oh, look at this. This should be it should be wrapped in a syntax. Oh wait, no. Oh, we just have more of the. It's more of the same error. Okay. Just need to collapse all these guys too. I guess I should end every stream with making sure that all my tests pass, huh? It's kind of a bummer to jump into a fresh stream and have to go through all this. Whew, a lot of tests, huh? That's cool. Alrighty, let's rerun that and make sure that we hit our breakpoint, and then we can continue fixing stuff. All right, that's great. Let's just run and see if oh, okay, now everything's passing. Let's come back here, run all our tests. Whew, okay, looks like wait, 7? What did I just npm test? There are definitely more tests than 7. Star, huh. Let's see. Find, this is src test dash name star.spec.js. Yep, there are a bunch of them. Oh, remember I did describe only. The computer always does what you tell it to do. It just might not be what you are expecting. Okay, getting closer. All right, so I think are these actually errors? I'm not sure. I'm going to quickly fire up the node REPL and just see if those should actually be errors. So yeah. Oh, that's not a thing. Oh, it's out of bounds. Okay, so cool. Yep. So let's go take a look at our number reader. Okay, so okay, cool. Okie dokie. So I think what we have here is a bit of a conflict. So I remember, I'm just going to comment this. Fixes list reading in the case of. So basically what was happening was if the last element of a list was a number, then this this number reader would see the closed parentheses and fail. but we actually want it to just stop. So what I'm going to do is just going to comment out these tests for now. Okay. If we just skip this guy. To do reader conflict. So a little bit ago, I was cruising around on the internet and I found a funny post about your programming language won't work because, and one of the items was shift reduce conflicts are resolved with a random number generator, and it's not exactly what we're doing here, but not too far away. All right, but at this point we should at least be able to run our tests and not have a crap load of red. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Let's get back on track. So I'm just gonna close out all of my files. Actually, I can just right click. Let's just start fresh. All right, so I'm gonna open up my function spec. Oh yes, declare. We were writing declare. That's what we were doing. Okay, so let's grab this and put that over here. All right, so I'm gonna look at function.spec. How did I do this? All right, so describe input, and that will give me an input back, and oh. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, sorry, my brain just kind of jumped a couple little beats there. I'm going to grab declare and add it to our ES5 barrel file. So that way, so now we just have our input. We can just expand, read our input here. Okay, let's see here. It expands to a variable declaration. Okay, so let's do expand, read, input. Oh, we don't even need to do our describe up there. Let's see. So we'll grab expand from our expander library, blisp /expander/expand, and then we will grab read from our reader library. And I think I can just search and replace expand into read here. And we think that will do something. It will break, but it will do something. All right, I'm gonna look at this. So what we want, excluding every scopes to equal, and then we will put together our AST node. Okay, so paste that there. And what is this? This is going to be variable declaration, and will be let. We will have a variable declarator. So we will also want to grab that from Babel. And we have one variable declarator, which, where are they? ID. All right, so this will be identifier A. And init, it will be numeric literal with 1. So this is what we expect. All right, and we of course need to grab those from Babel. All right, so as usual, I'm going to jump into my package.json and set this guy up to just run that declare test. That's going to run all of them. npm run test current. Great. Okay. So let's also do the same for our launch config. There's got to be an easier way to do this. I'm just going to run this, and we will pause when the exception is thrown, so we can see what's going on. Oh, you know what I'm doing? I'm expanding without an environment. So let's grab that. And that will be very helpful. And we want to rerun. Okay. All right, let's see what args is. Okay, you know what? We probably just didn't write our function. Let's call this declare though. Okay, so actually this is called kind, and what we will do is we will expand the first argument. So we need expand blisp slash es5 expander expand. All right, eventually I'm going to barrel file these guys. All right, so our kind, we will expand. Oh, we were also writing syntax to datum. Did we finish that? We think we did. All right, so let's pull that in. So that we can const all right, so basically this should be our array of syntax elements. And so we will pull, all right, so kind, we will expand form. So the 0th element is the macro identifier. The second element will be the let, if I open this. So 0th element, first element, and then we will have a set of forms that are the declarators. So this will be kind, and this should expand to an identifier. So that will be kind.name. And so realizing that my syntax to datum function won't make a whole lot of sense for identifiers because it would return a string, which is not the datum for an identifier. There's no first class identifier. Maybe it would make sense for it to be a symbol. anyway, I'll just put it to do. All right, so kind.name. And then what we want to do is take syntax to datum, and we will take form.slice, and we want 0, 1, 2, and up. So we'll slice from index 2. Oops. So syntax to datum, and then we'll slice that guy. So we're going to loop over a set of excuse me, variable declarators coming in from the form, and we want to map those to Babel AST nodes. So we will call variable declar. Oops. Okay, eventually put this in the right spot. All right, let's jump back here. Variable. So we want to map these into variable declarators. So we can call expand on. Oh, you know what? The whole point of this is to add bindings, so we will want this to be a block. Okay, cool. So const lval is, we are going to expand in our environment, and then init equals expand. Oh, right, so right now, form. Oh, sorry. What we want here. Oops. Okay. I totally messed this up. All right. So we expanded this outer list syntax object into an array. And then now we're looping over these elements, which we also need to pull out. Form equals what do we want? We want syntax to datum declarator, and so we'll have form 0, and init will be form 1 to be undefined. All right. Sorry. Great, so, whoops, come on. Okay, I think I accidentally toggled my keyboard. Okay, there we go. All right, so lval and init. Are there other parameters? There might be other parameters. Let's see. It definite. What do we think that means? No clue. Whatever. We will ignore it for now until it becomes a problem. Okay, so I think if we do this, run test current. Let's see. So we still failed. Did we? Excluding every is not a function. Oh, I need expect. So we're just going to grab expect from chai. So chai is just a test assertion library. I'm used to it, so I use it. It works pretty much the same as all the others. Right. Try that one more time. Still no. Oh, right. Okay. I should just assign this to the global. We need to do this song and dance. Whoops. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so basically what this is doing is it adds this excluding parameter. So as we're expanding, we are adding unique scopes to all of the expansions. And so we need to exclude those because we don't know what they are ahead of time. Maybe in the future we can get more clever about our tests. And cool. So this expanded correctly. Let's also test that multiple work. There's no reason they shouldn't, but let's do it. B1. Let's do 2 for the heck of it. Alrighty, so basically we're just going to copy this, and we have a 2 and a B instead of the A here. Run that. Great. Okey-doke. So now that we have that guy working, I'm going to jump over to my block and my block spec. So I'm going to go ahead and set up some tests where we will verify that we are adding the binding to the block. So we'll do something very similar, and then just do that. We'll just good enough. This will be totally invalid, but that's okay. So what are we doing here? All right, I'm just going to copy this, even though the test description is pretty darn terrible, just so that we can get started. Okay, so let's also copy paste this. So we'll have variable declaration, and then we'll have a call expression calling that. So we need to also grab these from Babel. Variable declaration and variable declarator. And numeric literal. Okay, so we're only declaring one variable. Okay, let's jump to my package.json, switch this to block. There's got to be a better way, huh? Let's fix this. So what I'm gonna do is change this to test1, and basically what we want to do is, I think, all right, let's just Google this. Let's see, package.json script CLI argument. So I want to be able to, from the command line, pass the file name that I want to run npm for. So let's just see how this works. Okay. all I have to do is nothing. We'll just run that. Let's see. All right, so in theory, so what I'm gonna do is run test, what did I call this? Test one, and we want to pass it test /** block.spec.js. Does that work? Yep, that's not gonna work. I need the dash dash. Still no. What did we run? Tests. src tests. Maybe. Fingers crossed. No. Oh, great. That's a really weird error, though. What's the actual command that it ran? Okay. What do we do? All right, I'm just gonna do npm test directly to see if it was a problem with the CLI column. Nope. Okay. Well, you know what that means. We're gonna go grab the debugger. Where is it? We want to change this to block. And stop our current running and rerun. This is probably, we can probably find a better way to do this too. No, stream. Okay, so this is all the way in the reader. Oh, what an idiot. Okay, that needs to be describe input, not describe. All right, let's do this one more time in the terminal. Okay. So let me just go find my test env. So we have test ES5. Ugh, test env is empty. Let's just import that. Try that again. Oh, this is invalid. So I wanted 2 statements in my block. One more. Great. Okay, so all right. Thinking about how I want to proceed now. So basically, what we want to do honestly, what we actually want to do is have a macro that returns something different. So Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So basically we want to expand our test env with a macro. Oops. Close that. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to have a macro that returns that itself uses a and returns this itself. Okay. So let's start writing this out. Let's see. What do we want to call this? We can just call it test. And what we'll get is a syntax object and an environment. Okay, so we want to return syntax quote. And what do we want to quote? We want to basically all right, sorry, I'm lost in my head thinking. So I think we'll have a block. We will do this. Oh, we need to add macros. I've been trying to do this before, like manually writing macros, but this isn't going to do what I want it to do. So I think we just need to add macro support to the language. It's time. Okay, so let's just get our tests working again here. Let's just make sure that that runs. Okay, time to do some macros. All right, so I'm just going to clear this stuff out. Starting over. Okay, let's grab expand. And pull out our expand spec. And let's get these next to each other. So basically, let's all the way down to the bottom. And describe macro. Okay. So I think what I want to do here is essentially actually, you know what we should do? We should extend declare with macros. Let's do this in declare. All right, so what I'm gonna do is grab this guy and we'll describe input and let's do this. Okay, so declare macro, and so we want this to be a function. And then a block. And then return syntax quote. All right, so let's see. Declare macro. What are we trying to do? Let's just say A. And yeah. Let's turn this into a syntax quote so that we can have new lines and I can try to think about what I'm doing. It's almost time that we need some IDE support, huh? All right, so this can be whatever. So we have function A. Let's just make it an anonymous function. I don't want to think too hard about this. All right, so we'll take a parameter B and we will return syntax quote. I'm gonna really mess myself up here. Should we? Yeah, we'll keep it. What I was thinking there is that I wanted to just have this be all lowercase. It just feels a little weird typing camel case on that function name, but one thing at a time. Okay, so let's syntax quote a list where we call B with, I don't know, tax unquote need syntax quasiquote. Okay, we are really getting into the thick of it now. All right, so where's this? Here we go, expand. All right. Here we go. All right, so okay. So we're gonna test syntax quasiquote, and it doesn't matter too much what we give it right now. This should just expand to actually the same thing as let's just grab one of our syntax quote. Here we go. All right, so quasiquote without so quasiquote without any unquotes should just expand to the same thing as a syntax quote. So let's grab expand instead of block and run that. Let's do read syntax. Yep, we need a read function. Throw that any old place. Oh, we're already requiring it. We just need to assign it. All right, let's try that again. Still no dice. What do we got? Oh, we didn't wrap it in an it. It's just terrible test descriptions. I'm getting a little lazy, but all right, we'll keep going. Close that block and fingers crossed. All right, well, someone, oh, we didn't do anything. Okay, so syntax quasiquote is also all right. let's just inline here. I'm just going to write this function here. All right, so we need our Quasiquote text, Quasiquote. And what will we get? We will get syntax and an env. So okay, I'm just looking through my syntax quote function to remind myself of how this is working. Heck, let's just put a breakpoint. All right, let's jump into our launch JSON and let's fix this. So right now I keep having to switch over here and change this text, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So let's see, VS Code launch config, open file. Oh, I think it's the next one. I saw this, variables reference. Predefined variables. So I know there's an environment variable for the active editor. Let's try this. Okay. All right. What are the odds? All right. So active editor is expand. Let's see what happens if I run the debugger. Great. Okay, so now we don't have to edit our file all the dang time. So what did I want to do? All right, so we're calling syntax Quasiquote. What we want to do is, did I write that function? Okay, I'm just going to, for now, return syntax quote and syntax and env. That's the format. Okay, syntax quote doesn't care about env, but that's okay. And we want this to be Quasiquote. Okay, try that again. Set a breakpoint real fast. Wait a second, what's happening? It's not running. Slowly. Okay. So the reason I wanted to do this is I just want to kind of inspect our syntax object right now. So we have an expression. First one is a symbol literal, and the second element is a numeric literal. All right, so okay, so basically what we want to do here is if all right, so we'll pull our form out with syntax to datum, syntax env. Do we need the env? I don't think we need the env. We'll need to come to the top and require that. Yeah, it's there. No autocomplete. Okay. I have been switching my naming scheme, huh? Oh well. Okay. So where are we? I'm just gonna stop this for now. Okay, so we have an array expression. We'll pull out the array from that. And if form1 dot type is not equal to, if we don't have an array expression, then there's nothing to do. We just want to return syntax quote, and that's it. Otherwise, we have an array expression, and we want to do special things. So okay, so we will return syntax quote, and we're gonna spread our array expression into a new syntax object so that we can modify the elements. And what we're gonna do is map our elements, and we'll have our element. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna look for, let's just over here, let's write one more test for the code that we're actually writing right now. So we want to syntax quasiquote an array, and let's just say that we're gonna call the function foo with a syntax unquote, and okay, so basically what should happen here is this guy should expand into I think this should be essentially syntax quote, and what we're gonna have is the original array with foo, or sorry, syntax quote foo, and expand bar in our end. So this really roughly what we're trying to do right now. Okay, so what do we want to do? So if element.type is array expression, actually, this might be okay. Where are we here? All right, first equals element dot, I'm just gonna, after going to the trouble of writing syntax to datum, I'm just gonna reach in there. Okay, so let's just go ahead and expand that. We probably don't want to do that right now, but okay. Actually, we don't want to do that. Let's just peek and see. Let's call this maybe unquote, and let's just grab element dot elements 0. So if maybe unquote is equal to symbol dot for, this is this is not right, but let's keep going. So at this point, we will return expand element dot elements 1 in Rn. I think that's all we need. So let's see here. Okay, I think somewhere we have a list expression. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, look at this. This is almost exactly what we need. I'm just going to copy this. Okay. This should be read input. Okay. I am going to go ahead and run that. Yeah. So we expect this to error. Maybe not with that error. Cannot read property 0 of undefined. Okay. All right, well, let's just go ahead and debug it. Okay, let's just run until we crash. Good doke. Let's see here. What is our syntax here? Oh, interesting. This is not behaving the way I thought it would. Okay, so it's being called with the next, with the form already. So we actually don't need this. We can just say boom, boom, boom. All right, I'm gonna stop this so that I can see what the heck's going on. All right, so we just get the form. So we don't need this. Okay. Run that again. Okay. Oh, of course. This should just be syntax quote form. Let's rerun. Okay. Okay, my logic operator is flipped here. All right, so if it's not an array expression, then we just want to return the element and then close out that if statement. If it's syntax unquote, we will return the expansion, otherwise we return element. All right, and now that I see this, I want to just combine this here. And flip that to be equal to. All right, let's clean that up. All right, so if it's an array expression and the first element is the syntax unquote symbol, we want to return the expansion. Alrighty, one more time. Okay. Let's see here. What did we get? Okay. This is quite difficult to parse. Name. Elements. We got elements instead. I have no idea what's happening. I expected some kind of symbol literal here, but we didn't get it. All right, let's look at what we're actually telling this guy to do. Okay, so basically we expect when everything is said and done, this to compile down to an object of type array expression. Elements are going to be an array where we have type symbol literal, value a new symbol for foo. All right, let's clean this up a little bit. And like, okay, so the reason I did that is just because now as I start hitting enter, VS Code is going to help me out here. Okay. All right, so we are quoting that, and then the second argument should be whatever bar expands to. Okay, and so what are we saying? We're saying we're creating an object expression, type array expression with elements. The first is a symbol literal. Okay, type symbol literal. The value will be set to a call expression symbol.for foo. Great, and then type symbol, and then here we're just saying that that should expand to a symbol literal bar. But oh, you know what? Look at this. Okay, I think I see what's happening. So we are right here. We're saying we expect essentially the last element to be a symbol literal, and what we're getting is an array expression value elements. I think what we're seeing is syntax unquote. Yep, okay. So we're not actually expanding that syntax unquote. So, here we go, syntax to datum. Okay, so we were comparing the symbol literal syntax object to our symbol. Really, this should go through the resolve, but I'm taking some shortcuts. Oops, let's rerun. Okay, expand is not defined. That's interesting. Oh, wait, really? That's a little surprising. It's right there. Okay, I think what we need to do is okay, so I'm writing a language that compiles to JavaScript, and I don't even understand JavaScript scope. There we go. That's interesting. Oh, we have no env. We have no env. That's wait, we have no env. Wait, it looks like we have an env. What's going on? Okay, we're broken here, and env is indeed undefined. So we're not passing env into this guy. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we're just going to pass those guys in. Okay. Okay, let's rerun. Okay, well, we didn't crash. What did we get? String literal. Oh, right. Bar. Huh. Okay. Great. Let's just stop there and rerun. Okay, let's see what we have. All right, we have element.elements 1. Great, we have a symbol literal. And let's call expand on that guy. And we get identifier. Okay, so basically this is what happens when you have a free identifier. Okay, if we back up, let's think about what we want to have happen. So basically, let's extend our env such that we basically want bar to expand to something. So I'm going to just throw bar in there. Let's just make it a numeric literal for kicks and giggles. All right, so we expect this to be an object where the type is numeric literal, and the value is a numeric literal. I think that's right. let's look at the previous test because we're already doing this up there. Yep. Okay, run. Unexpected token. Alrighty. Let's just see what the code is. Code. Alright, what's file? Okay, looks like we just have a syntax error someplace. Oh, yep. There's a little red dot up here. Oh, just forgot to close my object here. Alright, rerun. Okay, I forgot that I need to add things to my env inside arrays. All right, so this just needs to be. Ooh, what am I doing? Okay, this should be, let's just make this an identifier. Bar1, why not? Okay. Okay, making, oh, you know what? Yep, okay. So I changed the test, but didn't change the expectation here. So we said this is identifier. Okie doke. Let's run one more time. Oh, it's a string literal. That's interesting. Why is it? What did I do? Okay, string. Oh, this should be identifier type is, and then this would be name. And this should be a string literal. Yep, okay. So the code was right, the test was wrong, I think. There we go. Okay, so that is unquote. Alrighty, so I am going to, oh, is that a syntax error? No, okay, we're in spec. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is jump over to declare just so that I can get at this ES5 and, oh, problem. It's, we want a spread, which isn't ES5, but we're gonna do it anyway. Module.exports equals function spread, and we will take syntax and env. Oops. Okay, so we are going to acquire stuff from Babel again. is a spread element. All right, so this isn't actually ES5, but we're gonna keep going. Okay, so we're gonna return spread element and syntax to datum. Okay, syntax, sorry, I had to think through what I was doing there. All right, so basically we want to take syntax to datum, the syntax, and then get element, the first element 1 there. We want to actually expand that inside our env. All right, so the reason I am writing this is part of Quasiquote is that you want to be able to unquote spread. And I think, so in most lists, this is like a built-in, it's totally special form. But because of the way we are doing our syntax objects, I think we can actually just unquote spread of an array. And then it'll compile to the correct thing. Wait, what am I doing here? That's not what I want. I'm just gonna comment that out for now. Not sure what I was doing. Okay, where we actually want to be is expand. Okay, so all right, these are starting to get fairly verbose. And so what we want is to have a spread of bar and bass. And so basically we expect this to be, oops. So we are array expression elements. We have a symbol foo. What are we doing? Basically, we all right, so we expect these identifiers to get spread into this call expression, and then we've got bass. I'm just going to leave that as a free identifier and probably bite me in the butt later. And this guy goes away. Okay, so this is like 2 meta level abstractions away. I don't think this is going to work. Oh, you know what? It's definitely not going to work because I didn't add a spread into my env. Curious what we actually got here. Not sure. All right, so we got an array expression out. Let's just compare. What do we have? We've got, I'm gonna get rid of this comment. Okay, so Quasiquote, and so we expect it to be an array expression. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna collapse this down. That's insane. Okay, so this one up here. Oh, where am I? All right, so I just want to swap the positions of these real fast. And I want to collapse this down. I'm also going to get rid of this. Make sure it'll run. Okay, so this was foobar. All right, so it was not in that call expression. So these guys. And where am I? I think it's at the end of this array expression. Oh, that's right. Okay. Oops. I do not think I did that right. Where's this object expression? Okay, so we need to do that, and we close that here. Nope. Oops. That. Okay. And then we want to do the same thing for our Baz identifier. We were close. We were close. All right, pop that guy in front, and we need to close him out. All right, so close out the array. Okay, and then we need to delete it from up here because it's just foo. Okay. This is really hard to parse. Okay. Oh. Okay. So this is actually not what'll happen. So we're gonna essentially expand the spread. Okay, so this will actually be a spread element. Nope. Okay. This will be an object expression. We have an object property. Key will be an identifier for type. Value will be a string literal for spread element. Okay, great. And what do we get out of here? Argument. So we'll have an object property for the argument. And then this will be another object expression. And this will be object property, identifier for type, and then string literal will be array expression. So basically what we're doing here is building out a JSON object the hard way. Okay, object property. And the key will be identifier elements, and the value will be an array expression. And each element, and these are going to be our elements in that array expression. So we can just go ahead and pop those guys in there. Wonder if we're gonna have to quote this. I think we're gonna have to quote this. It's not, I don't think this is gonna work quite the way I thought it would. So basically what I'm expecting to see here is the big difference being this array expression versus object expression. Ooh, wait. Okay, so oh my, this is really difficult. All right, I'm gonna just set a breakpoint and let's step through it. Okay, just gonna jump here. We're just gonna keep going until we get to the one we are trying to test. Okay, here we are, spread. So let's just step in. Where are we? Okay, step out and step in. Okay, let's take a look at what the syntax is before we abuse it into an object expression. All right, so we've got an array expression. where our elements are symbol literal for foo, great, and a call expression. So we wanted this to be an array expression, but let's just see. Callie is spread. Okay, so oh, wait a second. We just didn't add spread here. I think that this would have worked. All right, find this and rerun. Okay. Spread is not defined. Oh, yeah, of course it's not. Let's go over here and rerun. Fingers crossed it was just that dumb thing and everything else will work. Okay, let's just see where we are. Not that one. Okay, here we are in expand. We're going to do the same thing. Let's step into that, step out. And so basically I'm just trying to step into the syntax quote function itself, and let's look at syntax. All right, so we have an array expression, 2 elements. It's still a call expression. That should have resolved this spread to our spread macro. Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to find the right place to put this breakpoint, and it is right here. And we will rerun. Okay, and I think we are probably in the first one. Let's continue, and now we should be in the second one. Okay, so let's take a look. Element dot elements 1. Okay, great. We have an array expression. Okay, so we have a symbol literal for spread. So I'm going to step into expand and see why we're not getting anything. First is an identifier, name is spread. Great. So we step over. Okay. Let's just see here. Env dot spread. Oh, what? Did we not? Shoot. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I am just going to spread the ES5 env. That's where we've been going wrong. Let's call this ES5. We need to require that from ES5. All right, so we just didn't add our spread macro into that. So let's rerun it. Okay, well that's something. Where is this? just looking through this stack trace to find one of my files that caused this error. It looks like I might have gotten buried here. Console log. Oh, I think I just forgot. Comma. Let's close that out. Yep, just forgot the comma here. There we go. And let's run. We're so close. I can feel it. All right, I think that's the first one, so this should be the second one. And let's just take a look at elements, element.elements 1. This is indeed our spread. All right, let's see what happens if, and let's just make sure we have, all right, we have spread. Let's expand element.elements1 with our env and see. Oh, no expand. Hello. Oh, for heaven's sakes. All right, I'm just gonna step in. Okay. Oh. What? Oh, right. Okay. It's a function. We resolved it. Okay. Let's expand first syntax env. Oh my gosh, how is expand not defined? What a pain in the butt. All right, well, let's just step over and see what the return. Expand is not what? Oh, do we need to grab it here? Acquire blisp slash expander slash expand. Okay, come over here. Let's run this one more time. I'm just going to disable the breakpoints and have it run all the way through, and let's see what we get out. Yep. Okay. Okay, let's rerun that. Just forgot to require some things that were needed for that function. Okay. All right, let's expand this. Whew, okay. What we're gonna do is similar thing. I want to step into the syntax quote function. And just see what's going on. All right, so we want to run one more time. We want the last one. Step in, step out, and step in. Alrighty. Alright, so. Alright, array expression, elements. Cool, symbol, literal, foo. We have spread element and, oh, keep toggling that, call expression. Okie doke. So we need that to be an array expression. Okay, so all right, so right now I'm just trying to think through what we want to happen. So one option is that in this case you need to quote, but that seems silly. All right, I guess we should just look into it and see. All right, so const form equals syntax to datum, and then const whatever to spread equals form1. Okay, so if form.type equals array expression, let's just we'll just quote it. And form. Otherwise, we're just going to expand the form. Oops. We want to close that there. We want that. Okay. Not super happy with that. Oops. We want, this should be, let's just do that. Okay. Let's rerun it. Fingers crossed. Syntax is not a function, so we need to do that. And we just copy paste and find replace to datum out of there. Okie doke. Odds seem small. This is getting a little hairy. Oh, this is a problem. Shadowing the syntax function. Whatever. Okay, I just need to have something other than syntax as our argument. Oh, where are we? Let's run that. Oh, syntax is in reader. Okay. We're gonna have to clean up some modules, I think. This is a little crazy. And run. Okay, let's just run that again, and we'll pause on the exception. Should have stopped and looked at what was happening. So we're building the spread element incorrectly somehow. Okay. Let's see what we're passing. Oh. All right, well, shoot. Let's all right, let's just hack it into place. Okay. Oh. All right, so we want to basically spread form, and we want to reset the elements to be form.elements.map. We'll just call it element, and we'll expand element in our env, and I think that might give us what we want. Let's see. Oops. All right, we got it. We got it. Well, let's make sure we also test the other code path. Oops. Let's put this guy down. This closes that. And so we want this. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this in a spread. All right, so this is almost correct, except this will be wrapped in a spread object expression. Okay, so identifier argument will be this symbol here. Whoa. Okay. Argument. All right. Where were we? There we go. All right. So, and then, whoops, this should be an array. So, then we'll have object property setting the type to be identifier type will be a string literal for spread element. All right, let's run that. Fingers crossed. Ooh, oh, typo. That's a much easier thing to fix than than bugs. And there we go. Okay, so now we have syntax quasiquote. So what that means for us is that we can start writing meaningful macros. And I'm just going to clean up some of this stuff here. We don't need that anymore. This is definitely a lot messier than I was hoping it'd be, but I suppose, as usual, we're just going to write a bunch of code, make it do something, then we'll try to make it correct, and then we'll try to refactor it and make it maintainable, and only after that will we start optimizing. So it'll be really great when it actually does something and we're making great progress. So I'm going to call it a day on this one around. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time.